on a very Star Wars-like game that is known as Star Wars: The Old Republic. Hello there. Kale, get your own head. That's my line, boy. Kale's sitting here going, say hello there, while I say, nuh-uh, don't start with me. Alrighty. Hello, folks. It's me, Hearthshield Gaming. And now we're on Star Wars: The Old Republic. Just chilling, walking around, running in circles, doing something, doing quests. I've played this game on and off since the game released oh so long ago. How long has it been, really? See, it came out in 2013, I think. It's 2021. So see, I can't math. It's almost been 10 years, maybe like 7, 8 years. I've played this game on and off, and I got some things I think that need saying. So first of all, I bet everyone's wondering, hey Hearth, why are you switching games so often? Well, that's because I don't really know what I want to do mainly. I've done simple series on YouTube. I did some campaign series on different video games, such as For Honor. That was my first one, I believe I did. For Honor was a very fun game for me for single player, though the multiplayer not so much. I'm not much of a multiplayer or a PvP kind of person, I should say. I like multiplayer, I just don't like PvP. I get too competitive, and it's just not a good time for anybody. But here I am on Star Wars, as many of you all might know, or might not know. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I mean, I'm a real big Star Wars fan. I'm a big nerd for the lore, especially the lore around the combat for Jedi and Sith. And there's some things that I've noticed with this game. There's a reason why I've been on and off on Star Wars: The Old Republic for so long. It's because I find it kind of stale. But how is it so stale, Hearthshield? Well, my character's looking like she's got a stick up her hind end. If that... if that's any indication. The combat, I feel like it could be a little bit more fluid. There's a lot of things. I should have wrote down what I wanted to talk about, but I didn't, so I'm just kind of trying to remember what I talked about before with my friends regarding this game. Let's start with this new patch that they're coming out with. Yes, Gale, of course. Unfortunately, no one can see the chat because my Streamlabs did not want to capture this game, so that's unfortunate. I mean, if you can, I'm looking at it right now, and I don't see it popping up on the screen. But anyways, back to the topic. So, from what I understand, they're going to start making all classes available to both sides, such as, like, a trooper type can be an agent, like a sniper, if that makes any sense. Jedi can use, like, Sith techniques instead of just typical Jedi techniques, like my Shadow here. If I went dark side, I'd be able to use Inquisitor moves instead of this. What I wanted to talk about is the fact that I think this is, while it's a good idea, it might revitalize the game a little bit. I think the big problem with that is it's just rehashing an older system and just lifting some restrictions. I think that's it. It's still an Inquisitor. It's still a sniper. The only difference is that it's on the opposing side. Which I get that. That can be pretty cool and unique. But I want to focus on the Jedi and Sith side of things. I think they really need... The way the story has gone, from what I understand, your character kind of splits off from the Republic and the Empire, the Jedi and the Sith. I get it, they're probably trying to reincorporate your character into choosing a side, but it's to that point where you're kind of just doing your own thing. You know what I mean? I think they need to have a little bit more freedom regarding Jedi and Sith combat. So, what I mean by that is, I'd like to see more combat forms. Let's just start with combat forms. There are 7 well-known lightsaber dueling forms that we know of. 6. Was it 6? I think it's 6 officially for Old Republic canon. 7, I think, came during the Clone Wars era, or prequel era, I should say, with Mace Windu's Vapad. Or Vapad, however you want to say it. But combat forms, I think, would be a good place to start. Long ago, when the game first launched, you did have combat forms, and it changed a lot of stuff. It did a lot of things, but I think it wasn't enough. Sure, it changed some stats. It made what you did for your action bar on your abilities. It changed how things worked with that just a little bit, but I think they could have gone a little farther. Like Shicho, Form 1, that is the very first form, that is the basic form of lightsaber combat. It teaches general swordsmanship, that it's the foundation for all the other lightsaber forms. Any new form, I think, it starts with a foundation of Shicho, or Shicho, however you want to pronounce it. So let's use the Jedi Knight as just an example. So you got all your abilities for the Jedi Knight, and you started with the Shicho form, which I think is fair. I think all Jedi should start with Form 1, no matter if they're Shadow, or Consular, Knight, Sentinel, doesn't matter. Like Guardian, Consular, and Sentinel, it doesn't matter. I think they should have had their own special animation for combat itself, like, say, Saber Strike for Jedi Shadow. Since I have a Saber Staff, I think they should try to follow what Shicho was all about with the animations. Reincorporate those old stats, while also changing the animation based on what the style what style is being used, if that makes much sense. I know I'm just running around in circles here, but that's what I do when I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. Then you have Form 2, Makashi. Makashi's the dueler style, the fencing style, I like to call it. Most people incorporate Makashi with Count Dooku from the Clone Wars and the TV show and the movie. Which, yeah, that's it. Literally just Count Dooku. The embodiment of Makashi. I think at that point, I don't think it would really work too well with a staff, because it requires a lot of control with a single blade. A staff might not do very good. But I think they, like, if the Jedi Knight is able to learn Makashi, then they should be able, then the animation should change to fit that. Along with how the ability that they use works. If that makes sense. As you can tell, I'm not a public speaker, and I'm struggling pretty hard on talking about this. That's how it is. I think it would be neat if you were able to choose which type of saber that you can use. Like, I think regardless of class, you should be able to choose what type of lightsaber. Like, you can choose a single blade, you could choose 2 blades, or a saber staff. I honestly think you should be able to choose freely. And I think each choice should determine how your character plays, alongside the lightsaber forms you choose to learn. On top of that, I think would be very fruitful would be able to have a proper Master Padawan or Sith Lord Apprentice system kind of like how Final Fantasy has their sprouts and stuff like that, if that makes sense. I've played Final Fantasy just a little bit. I got a general idea of what that's for, what the sprouts and all that stuff is for. But I think that's how it should be, and I think the game should record, or rather your account should record who your master was and what apprentices you've taken ever since you've graduated, we'll put that in quotes, from being a Padawan to a knight. And that's another thing I want to talk about, the ranks. I think it'd be awesome to have in-game ranks for Jedi or Sith. So imagine you start a new character up, right? I think every new character, Jedi or Sith, should start at Apprentice or Padawan. And I think you should be able to build your way up through either PvP or PvE, doesn't matter, and earn the rank of Knight, earn the rank of Master, earn the rank of, you know what I'm saying? Earn these different ranks to show that you know what you're doing. But I know what some people might think. Well, that will breed toxicity and people want to shun Padawans. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. If there's a proper Master and Apprentice system in place, I think it would help a Knight to achieve the rank of Master if it was mandatory to take on at least one Padawan or Apprentice. At least one, maybe two. Not at a time, not at the same time. Or maybe at the same time. I don't know. This is just my general base thoughts off the top of my head. And when he or she reaches that requirement, paired with what else they do in the game, I think that's when they should be able to reach the title of Master. Or Sith Lord. Something along those lines. What do you think, Kale? If you're still here. Interesting ideas, Mr. Deadlit. Thank you, Kale. I love being called a Deadlit. But yeah, that's a little bit of my thoughts regarding how I think this game needs to change. When it comes to other parts of the game, such as actual gameplay combat, I feel like it's not very fluid. When I say it's not that fluid because PvP or PvE alike, doesn't matter. It just looks like base flailing. It just looks like the opponents are flailing weapons at each other. Let me turn in this quest. I'll give you an example. Let me turn in this quest, see what happens. I think there's a fight here. I leveled up a consular to the max level a while ago, but I don't remember it.
Please, Yuan, calm down.
I just want to skip through all this.
You don't want to hurt anyone.
Just want to skip through all this.
I don't want to have to fight you. But you need to step away from Atros and calm down.
Look, Atros. She wants to play.
Look, Atros, she wants to
What
play.
game shall we play, Atros? Shall we cut out her ears first or her eyes?
Just calm down.
Alright, like I was saying, let's watch this combat. I'm not really good at this yet. It just kind of looks like base flailing. I need to fix my inventory so this doesn't stop popping up.
Please, help me!
That must have been awful. To fight your own master. I don't know what came over her. One minute she was placid, and then...
I need... Like...
So you notice how the NPC Yuan was kind of looked like she was doing basic attacks. I would like to see player characters do that as well, between abilities. Like, when I look at other MMOs, let's look at Warcraft, for example, because you know how much I like Warcraft. The one thing that I really liked about Warcraft is that some combat looked a little fluid, because you had animations for basic attacks, you had animations for parrying on both sides, you had animations for dodging, animations for blocking, but the thing is, there's no shields in this game, not in the same way, so I'm not going to worry about blocking with that one. But I think it would help the combat be a little bit more fluid that way. So I know what you're wondering. Well, wait a minute. During that fight, I saw a couple of parries and dodging. Yes. But you saw the NPC parrying, and you saw my character dodging. I'd like to see both do that. But what about blasters? Well, there's not much you can really do about that, because you're just shooting a gun. Oh, I was going to sell stuff, wasn't I? Yes, I was. Just a couple of complaints. Just basic complaints. Really doesn't change much. Like, having an auto attack, I think, would be nice. Like I said. It doesn't have to be that major. It can do just a couple of damage. It doesn't have to do all that much. That way you rely more on your abilities and how you use the abilities to strike down your foes and whatnot, but still, even while doing that, I think it'd be nice to have at least some better fluidity for the combat. Hey, speeder gun.
Here's what I got. Look quick if you want.
Wow. Just get rid of that, get rid of this, that. Honestly, I don't really need any of this, do I? I'm not the best player on this game, but
Bring your creds back anytime.
I know my opinion probably won't matter too much because I barely play this. Whoops. No influence. Large influence. What if they have cargo hoses? Just gonna go ahead and throw these in there. I'm keeping that for a reason. Keeping that for a reason too. I like to keep the color crystals in case I wanted to change my lightsaber color. There we go.
Best prices this side of the galaxy. You check.
Another thing that I kind of have a gripe with is the cartel market. I know everyone was like, oh boy, here we go, he's gonna hate on the in-game store. It's a normal thing, he's gonna hate on it. Well, yeah, of course I'm gonna hate on it. I am a general hater of all things that are freaking in-game stores. You want to have a store, fine, but keep it on the website. Anyway, let's go on the cartel market, see what's up. So, I was talking to my buddies last night. I was streaming this game privately, I'm just like, let's see here. Cartel Market usually hosts all sorts of brand new or older sets to buy with cartel coins, and you can get coins each month. At least 500 a month, I believe. But one of my complaints is that look at all this stuff they added for this market. Now, what you're wondering? Well, what does that have to do anything? Look, 18 pages of gear to sell. They all look great, save for a few. Let's go to weapons. 17 pages of different weapons. Most of them look okay. I don't like some of them though. Any unlocks? 6 pages of whatever this is. I think those are the profile things. Mounts? 14 pages of mounts. How is it that they can do all this? They can add all this stuff, all this new content to add to their market, but yet my character looks like she's made of plastic. She looks like a plastic toy statue with barely any movement aside from just a little bit of head shaking, some arm shaking, arm movement, and blinking. I'm sorry, but you're getting all this new content out here for the market. You're getting barely any story done for new expansions. And your characters are going to look like this still? Kaizen still looks like he's made of rubber. Come on, EA, or whoever's running this game now. BioWare, I don't know. How? Why? You're gonna add all this stuff, all this look at this gear set. This set of armor looks amazing. It looks great. But then the head looks like it's just made of plastic. And the thing, a little bit about this set is it does kind of look like rubber because of how the light reflects off of the arms and the shoulders, but not that much. Not as bad as what Kaizen looks like in his hands, his feet, and his head. Oops, that's weird. The hair looks a little better, but this is a new-ish hairstyle. I feel like they could do a lot better with this. I feel like these old, like this looks pretty good, not gonna lie. The surrounding areas, the ambience, the textures. This looks good for an interior building, but I feel like they could still do a little bit better. Before anyone was like, well, you do it if you're so good at it. I'm not good at this. I'm good at pointing things out. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at pointing things out and giving some decent ideas. But I think generally what they're doing now with allowing Jedi or Sith to have Jedi abilities or Sith abilities, like switching around the classes, I think it's a good start, but I think it's not in the proper direction that I think it should go. I want to see combat forms. I want to see the ability to freely choose which lightsaber you want to use. Do you want to use a single blade? Fine, use a single blade. You should also choose, and this is a permanent choice, by the way. I think it should be a permanent choice, whether you choose a single blade, 2 blades, dual wielding, or a staff, a saber staff, like what I have. I think that should change. I think that would be a really good start to some change. I also think we should be able to pick and choose which abilities we want to use. And also practice them in order to learn better. But practicing, that's just another grind fest. I already said that I wanted the lightsaber forms to be practiced and mastered in that way so that it has better efficiency along with whatever weapon type you have. That's already going to be a grind in itself. Another thing regarding the forms, if they do this, I doubt they will. I'm just one person. I doubt they'll even look at this. I doubt hardly anybody will look at this and agree with me. If they go along with that, idea of lightsaber forms. I personally think that you should be free to choose whichever forms you want to practice. If you want to eventually become a master of all of them, I think you should be allowed to do that. But at the same time, people want to think that's OP. Well, what do you want? I think people who put the most time in the game should be OP. I think people who work hard and deserve to have a little bit of overpoweredness to their character. But at the same time, I'd like the combat to change in a different way as well. So you know how you have levels. My character's level 16. Other characters are level 75. Some are level 20, some are 35, some are 46. I go to Onderon. I can't open the world map because I don't have my ship yet. I go to Onderon or Dantooine or whatever on my Guardian, who's level 40 something, and he's bumped up to level 70. I then ask myself, what's the point in having levels if they're just going to bump me up? At that point, that's when another idea struck me.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
Maybe, instead of having levels, they should make all the fights equally difficult, depending on what you're fighting. They should make all enemies equally difficult, depending on what you're fighting. And I believe with that in mind, the combat should change in a way that you really need to know what you're doing in order to be effective. It doesn't matter if it's PvP or PvE, like I said. I personally think that's how it should be. That way, if all the fights are equally difficult, based on all the other creative ideas, or different ideas that I have regarding saber form, saber style, and being able to pick and choose which ability you want, it would make characters overpowered, yes, but only if those people know precisely what they're doing and what to do at certain points in time. Because combat is a little weird. How is it weird? Simply because I believe different fights, like say you're fighting a beast, it would be a different fight compared to fighting another person, because a person is vastly intelligent compared to that of a wild animal who focuses more on base instincts. I think fights should differ depending on that. Depending on that base idea. This is just a base idea. People, please do not jump down my throat over this. It's likely to not even happen in the first place. And also, can we please fix the stealth? I don't want to look at my character's eyeballs and skull through her head. That's weird. People are going to start questioning, what do you mean by picking and choosing what abilities you want to use? Alright, let me give an example. So every class, the Jedi, I'm going to completely continue to use Jedi because that's my preferred, that's what I like to speak on and talk about when it comes to different games. In this game, they always start with a basic attack. In this case, for my Shadow, it's Saber Strike. Consulars and Knights have this basic attack. It's just a little different. And then they have their heavy attack. In this case, Double Strike. So say, if I pick and choose abilities, let's say I wanted to use the Sith Inquisitor version. Or say, even for this, let's use the Sith Inquisitor version of Project, which is, I think, is just like a shock of lightning. I'm pretty sure. If I chose that, to balance it out, Restrict the access to use this. Do not let someone pick this if they already have the counterpart to it. And do that for all of these. Every single ability. Sure, you can have Project, and the Jedi version of... What's that ability called? That channeled telekinesis, where you throw rocks at them, a ton of tiny pebbles. So let's say you could pick Project and just a basic Force Lightning ability. I would be completely down for that. But what about Jedi Sith alignment? I think they should go to KOTOR route at that point. KOTOR and KOTOR 2 dictated that you can have any ability, but if you were light aligned or dark aligned, the abilities of its opposite would cost more. Well, then people would probably think that it's pointless at that point to pick any Sith ability if you're a light aligned, because it's going to cost more and do the same as say the telekinetic ability. That would cost less. It's a lot of rebalancing that would have to be done. There would need to be certain perks to choosing different things that make your character further unique to others. This, I think, is great. Combat proficiencies, talent points, all this stuff, I think it's great. But with the ideas that I have in mind, this entire thing would have to be changed. The entire thing. Heck, I'm out of mind to just remove classes altogether and just have a basic character. And with that basic character, Force sensitive or not Force sensitive, heck, that could be the classes. You could have Force sensitive as one class and just not Force sensitive as another. Be a trooper, infiltrator. You could be a sniper, anything at that point if you're not Force sensitive. But I'm not going to get too deep into that. I also want to point out that while the stories are very good, I feel like they are very restricting on the fact that you have to do past the Coruscant one just so you can get your ship to go literally anywhere. Can't even open the galactic map. I would like to choose what stories I want to partake in. I would like to... Heck, I would also like to choose not to pick any stories and just do a bunch of side quests. Make my own little adventure. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be amazing. It would also help tremendously with world building. Speaking of worlds, maybe the worlds need to get a little revamp, especially the old ones, those classic worlds that we got back in the day, like Coruscant, Korriban, Tython. Revamp those worlds, make them look a little better. Like, if I look straight to the ground at the grass, and I turn, the grass turns with me. But that's just grass. It's not a big deal, right?
You've got guts, Jedi. Walking into my base, stealing 2 of my Noeticons.
Those Noeticons were looted from the Jedi Temple.
You've messed everything up. They said I could rule the Justicar territory if I got them the Noeticons. Just one left, and it's theirs.
Whoever they are, if you give me the Noeticon, I'll make sure they don't hurt you.
Like you can help me. I already lost 2 Noeticons. I'm a dead man anyway. Here, take it. This whole thing was a mistake from the start. Got what you asked for, Jedi.
Oh, thank goodness. A visitor. It gets so lonely in here sometimes. I would offer you a drink, but I ran out millennia ago, by my record. But we could play a game instead.
What is this place?
Now that is a good question, but a difficult one. I'm guessing you activated what looked like some sort of ancient device. A holocron, maybe? And something went wrong. You zigged where you should have zagged, and you ended up here.
How do I get out of here?
Well, I suppose I could let you go, but you'd have to play a game with me first. A game of questions. Answer right, you're free. Answer wrong, and your strength becomes a permanent part of this place.
I don't like the sound of that, but I guess I have no choice.
Now you're beginning to understand. Okay, the first question. How do you catch an answer?
How do you catch an answer? I don't know. I guess you ask. You ask a question.
You lure it out with a question.
Too obvious, I suppose. It's no fun when you get the answer right. Next question. What does the wise person know?
Nothing.
The wise person does not know, but seeks knowledge always.
Another right answer. You are so dull. Last question. Soon this place will be overrun with enemies. What will you do?
Ooh. Now, ain't this something? I don't know the answer to this one. Do I meditate? Do I defend myself? Or do I need more information?
What are the enemies? What are their weaknesses? Where will they attack from?
No, I don't know the answers to these questions.
Wow. I am victorious.
Like I promised, sir, the Jedi won't be a problem anymore. Now your master won't mind about those other Noeticons, right?
He might not. Only it seems your plan was a failure.
What? You're alive? How could anyone have survived?
You think you're pretty clever, but the Noeticons aren't enough to stop me or my master.
You and your master are irrelevant. I will cure Yuan Par.
It's too late for your master. She crumbles as we speak. Baddock, what are you waiting for? Earn my master's forgiveness. Kill this wretch.
Wow. Maybe I should have my companion fight him. Wow. Put him to sleep. And that's another problem I have with this game. It relies way too much on the companion. I can sit here and watch these two go at it, and eventually my companion will come on top. I don't have to move a muscle. Yeah, that's one of my complaints about this game. A big one is that the companion, it carries your character. It completely makes it makes me feel irrelevant on this game. It makes me feel like I'm just what's the point in getting stronger? It should be me carrying them, not the other way around. Heck, I'd be happy if they made it to where if you don't come with a companion, you could still survive. It might be a little harder, but I still think it would be great to be able to do things on your own and not have to be chaperoned by a companion. That's a big, big, big problem I have with this game. Very, very big problem. I mean, look at this. It's taken a long time, but the companion barely losing any HP. This is an elite. This is an elite NPC that we fight. Back in the day, that would have killed the both of us if I just sat there and did nothing. Oh, back on the topic of lightsaber forms. Notice how my character holds their lightsaber in just the basic combat form, combat style, whatever this is. Imagine if they implemented combat forms, like say if you took form 3 Sarisu Imagine if they held the blade this way, across their chest, upward, in a defensive position, because it's a defensive form. Like, imagine that style change. Even if it doesn't do very much, just the visual itself is far more engaging than just kind of standing there, hitting your character, doing this all day long. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Of course, and obviously in later expansions, it's not, or later levels, it's not like this, but I'm just saying. It would be far more engaging to be able to change the animation of not only the attacks, but your auto attack, your stance, based on whatever form you click on, say like over here or something. I think it would be great. I personally think it'd be great. But like I said before, I doubt this will ever happen, and it's a lot of work. But personally, the way I see it, if they're able to do all this work to add to their cartel store, I think they can probably do a couple of the changes I've mentioned.
Be careful where you walk, Jedi. The path of the dark side intersects with that of the light at many crossroads. This is the Noeticon of secrets. We are the masters who have seen the darkness and turned back to the light.
I'm looking for a cure for my master. The other Noeticon said to ask here.
If the Noeticon of science and the Noeticon of light had no answers, what makes you think we can help? We are neither doctors nor healers.
Hey, that's Bastila's voice actor.
What she means, Jedi, is that for you to consult us, this illness must
Oh, it
be
is Bastila. Look at that, boys.
Yes,
We're
I'm
talking to
sorry.
Bastila.
Tell us what you know about this illness, and we will see what we can find.
Master Bastila Shan. Will you look at that, boys? They actually added Bastila to the game, as well as Vandar, too. I haven't seen any hint of Vrook, or Zezkael, or Kavar, or any of them. Or Atris, for that matter. That's another one. Telos. How come they have they added that planet to the game yet? Well, I suppose first, if they want to do my ideas, which I doubt they will, they should probably focus on reinvigorating the first planets they've added and making them feel more, I guess depending on their scenery and background, either dangerous or more alive. Like, add more scary, suspenseful music. Like, imagine walking through Korriban's tombs and hearing those old school shrieks from KOTOR 2, or those dark and foreboding musics that you would normally hear on the starting menu of KOTOR 2. Like, imagine that. I would be freaked out. I would not only be freaked out, but I'd also be very invested in this game, because I'm like, man, if they're going to go this far for the starting world, how far are they going to go for the others? I think it'd be amazing. It'd be great. But I'm just one person. I am one streamer without many viewers. For now, anyway. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yuan keeps repeating the words, "The darkness is coming."
But I would most definitely like to at least have my ideas looked at, evaluated, see if what will work and what will not work.
You were right to consult us. It was only those things eliminated by the other Noeticons that put us on track. It's an illness the Jedi have seen before. One created by an ancient Sith named Tarek Morhage. He used it to turn Jedi to the dark side by the hundreds and leech their strength from them. In this way, he waged war on the Jedi.
But Yuan's the only one who's fallen ill.
According to the records, Morhage's plague spread gradually as well. A Jedi healer whose sacrifice, unlike his name, has not been forgotten, developed a shielding technique to release Morhage's hold on his victims.
One by one, the healer cut Morage off from his army, the source of his strength.
Each time he used the technique, however, it cost him some of his own strength. By the time the battle was won, the healer was weakened beyond the point of recovery. sacrificed his life to save the Jedi Order.
Is it possible for someone to learn this technique?
The ritual is recorded in an ancient terminal in the Jedi Temple. Learning it will require the combined knowledge of all the Noeticons. If you are thinking of learning the technique, Jedi, I would caution you. Powers such as these weigh heavily on those who wield them.
But it seems your master doesn't have time for caution.
Bastila does not look like Bastila in
Temple
this.
and learn the ritual as soon as possible.
She does not look like how she should look, I don't think. But, that's just an opinion.
I will go there as soon as possible.
Then we will do our best to help you learn the technique. Take all 3 Noeticons to the terminal in the temple and activate them. We will teach you what you must know. Later, others may learn the technique as well. But for now, time is of the essence.
I need to talk to you. I have bad news. Yuan's illness has begun to affect her body. She's losing strength, fading fast. Are you any closer to finding the last Noeticon?
I'm on my way to the Jedi Temple now to find a cure.
The temple? So the Noeticons were able to point you to something useful. Wonderful. Just be warned. The ruins of the temple are crawling with danger. And getting there means passing through the works. They're not safe either. Be careful, but hurry. I don't know how long Yuan will last.
Yeah, but that was my rant on the Star Wars The Old Republic. Just giving y'all some ideas that I came up with. And my friends seem to like them, but I don't know how anyone else will like them. People will probably look at me, shun me, and resent me for even thinking of these ideas, for wanting to change their oh-so-glamorous game that I really think isn't that glamorous. Because I know when I would speak of my ideas in the general chat, I would get a lot of people hating on me over that. I mean a lot. I'd be called a fool, I'd be called stupid, among other names, and all sorts of junk. I'd be told to get out, they don't want me here, etc., etc., etc. You know what? That's general chat, and that's just the internet. People are very hateful on the internet. Almost for no reason. I would most definitely like to hear everyone else's opinions regarding these ideas. If it'll be fruitful, if it'll be worth it. I personally think this game could be much, much more than what it currently is. Just don't mistake me or any of my ideas for hate for what the game is. I dislike some of it, doesn't mean I hate it. See, Cal said a few things. Companions should never be stronger than you. Yeah, I agree with that. Companions should never be stronger than you. If only I could get the chat to be visible on the stream itself, but instead of game capture, I have to use window capture. And the chat isn't very... From what I can see, it doesn't show up on there. At all. It should, but it doesn't. I even have the chat box higher on the source list. But it is what it is. I personally think the companion makes this game a little too easy. But I think the way it was challenging before, compared to the way I want it to be challenging now, is different. I want to be able to see what mistakes I make. Pretty fruitful if there was a little bit more fluidity to the combat, if there was more freedom to what abilities and what stance, what style, form, what type of lightsaber, etc. that you use. I also made mention before the stream, I think it was either yesterday or night before, that I'd like to see Jedi or Sith, and your general gunman classes, like your agent, your trooper, smuggler, or bounty hunter, perform differently in certain areas. Now, I know for a fact I'm going to get a lot of hate
open for
this.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
But personally, let's use a raid or an operation for an example. I think a Jedi should be one that's good, should be able to lead troops in battle in a way that makes them important in certain roles. Like, imagine a Jedi being able to fight a Sith on equal terms, but at the same time, a trooper, especially if they know what they're doing, I believe they should be able to fight the Sith too, but generally just be weaker. In the Star Wars universe, I'm trying to talk canon here, it's very rare for any person with a gun, be it soldier, bounty hunter, anyone, to be able to go toe-to-toe with a Jedi or two. Cad Bane could do it. Boba Fett could do it. Jango Fett definitely could do it. But you tell me what typical soldier, let's say a clone trooper. You think a clone trooper would be able to go head-to-head against a Sith Lord? Or a Jedi Knight? No. Not alone. And Order 66 comes around, and that's when things are a little more even. Things are more even because there's more of them than there are of the Jedi. Like, I think there should be fights that a soldier can exceed in more than what a Jedi would be able to do, and I think it should be vice versa. But I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, even mentioning that. So I know I mentioned it a long time ago about a different game. And man, did people get mad at me. Talking about unbalance. Yeah, it might be a little unbalanced. But who knows? I'm talking about authenticity and sticking true to the lore. But people want to say, well, gameplay doesn't equal lore. Then why have the game based around the lore? At that point, the game's just completely crapping on the lore and the story of Star Wars and how things normally are. Like, look at this. You think this trooper alone, logically, would be able to take on a Jedi? No. But can the trooper, this trooper, and these two over here be able to take on a Jedi. They might stand a chance. But a Jedi who really knows what they're doing, they probably still gonna win. But a squad of soldiers who also know what they're doing versus a Jedi that doesn't know what they're doing, that Jedi should probably lose. See what I'm saying? So there is a balance there. Not much, but there is. Requires teamwork. Requires to use your head. That's one thing that I always like to do. I'd like to talk about in games. Do I have to use my brain to succeed in combat? If the answer is no, and I have to push like 3 buttons to win, 3 or 4, it's a little boring to me. That's why I've been on and off on this game. Because I usually come here for the story. And then I get bored of the gameplay after a week or so. I mean, look, I'm literally just sneaking through all this. Like, there's no danger of any of these NPCs finding me. That's another thing, the sense of danger. The sense of accomplishment, they don't exist in this game. I'd like for them to start existing a little bit more. I'd like to have choices in story make an impact. Now, I'm gonna say one thing for y'all get mad at me. Guess what? It's already there. That thing already exists, just not that much. It started becoming a thing back in Fallen Empire. And the Knights of the Eternal Throne stories.
Welcome. Please select an available travel route.
Look at this. I'm sitting here driving a speeder in stealth. Can you imagine being like over there on that pipe and seeing a speeder drive itself? Probably wouldn't be too surprising. I'd say a lot of the speeders in the Star Wars universe have an autopilot of sorts. But yeah, there's my ideas, boys, girls, men, women, whoever's here. Whoever's watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, throw some comments my way. I want to see what y'all think about all these ideas. But be nice. Be nice. Don't be mean. Be nice. It's fine to disagree with someone, just be nice about it. Here we go. In the Jedi Temple. You'd think by now that the Republic would have at least fixed Coruscant and repaired the temple. In the timeline, anyways. I think that's one of the things, is that they treat this MMO more like a single-player game. And it kind of stagnates progression. A huge bunch. And what's with these people doing Dantooine the way they did it? Why are you hiding all these points of interest behind frickin' operations and junk? Like, I went to Dantooine one time, and I was like, alright, cool, we back in Dantooine. I wonder how similar it is to KOTOR 1 and 2. I look around, where the Enclave at? Where the Crystal Caves at? Where the Kinrath at? I see Cathounds, but they don't look like the proper models. They just look like bulls. Half bull, half dog, or whatever. Like, I felt, and I go over to the camp, and I'm seeing Kalikori pilgrims. Like, what? You telling me Kalikori Village You're gonna tell me they're too lazy to make new NPCs for this zone, that they're gonna take Kalikori village pilgrims from Tython and slap them on Dantooine? Really? Laziness. And that brings me to this right here, Cartel Market. They ain't lazy. Or maybe they are. Maybe they're lazy for the game, but they ain't lazy for this. Look at this. Look, there's Lando. Mandalorian. Look at that. Look, it's Obi-Wan. Either they need to get their crap together and start, you know, treating this game with some respect. Or personally, I think there just need to be a new Star Wars MMO entirely. I wouldn't care about an in-game store. Kale says, when's the graphics gonna be updated? I don't know, Kale. When's the graphics gonna be updated? Why do they only care for the store more than they actually care for content they add to the game itself? Look at this. This has been the same since the start. Even a lazy development team as Blizzard Entertainment updates at least some of their gameplay, some of their graphics, some of their old zones. Granted, they do have some in World of Warcraft that they haven't touched since they released. I will say that much, so don't think I'm just sitting here hugging Blizzard's leg. I'm not. But at the very least, I shouldn't be able to look at this and count pixels in this day and age. But graphics isn't everything. You right, graphics ain't everything. But here's the thing. I don't enjoy this gameplay, and the graphics are mediocre at best, so what? What's the point? What's the point? If you don't like it, you should quit. Well, I did, many times. And people wondering why there's a second voice, I'm just making fun of people. I'm making fun of people who would probably argue with me on this, John. And here's another thing. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to sit there and spend 10, 20, 30 minutes out of my day arguing with someone. It's just my opinion. Everyone's got one. Everyone's got an opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion, and they're entitled to speak their opinion, while also entitled to counter others' opinions. So, by all means, if you want to have a discussion in the comments channel, you want to give your ideas, go ahead, do it. But I'm not going to argue with you. I'll debate, sure. But the moment it starts getting heated, and the moment things start getting out of control, I'm out. I ain't going to argue.
This is it. The database where the ritual that can shield your master from the plague is kept.
A stellar work. 1 part computer, 1 part holocron. Truly ingenious.
I'm sure under happier circumstances I could lose myself in it for hours, but...
Masters, you know why we've gathered.
The Jedi Order is imperiled by an ancient plague, one that warps the minds of even the wisest of masters and turns them to the dark side.
This young Jedi has stepped forward in search of a way to help her ailing master and save the Jedi Order, but she cannot do it without our help.
Millennia ago, a powerful ritual was developed to shield the Jedi from the power of this ancient plague.
The ritual cut off the Plague Master from his victims, but it exacted a great price from the healer who wielded it. It is once again necessary for someone to use the ritual.
The ritual is a difficult one to learn, Jedi, and will take many hours of deep meditation and study.
Are you ready to learn it?
I am ready, Master.
Then open your mind, and we will teach you.
You seem to have mastered everything we have to show you, Jedi.
Such a bright, inquisitive mind. It has been an honor to teach you.
But remember, the shielding ritual will draw on your strength, and you can only regain what you've spent when the Plague Master's bond with his victims is broken.
I don't even know who the Plague Master is.
I'm afraid we can't help you with that. But ask questions, and you will find answers.
You now have the knowledge you need to save your master. Use it wisely and well, and may the Force be with you.
Reckless, foolish Jedi. So eager to find a cure for your master, you led us right to the prize. My master and I are most grateful.
Who is your master? What does he want?
If my master wanted you to know his name, he'd give it to you himself.
What kind of frickin' animation was
no
that?
More terminal.
Ah!
No miracle
Like,
healing
really?
this time.
Kind of frickin' sorry excuse for... That needs redone. I'm sorry. That needs redone entirely. That looked sorry. Lightning needed... Bleh. No. You.
For the last time, tell me who your master is.
My master is the Jedi Order's demise. Their lies, their pretense, their false serenity will be undone, as you would have been if you'd used the technique. How many could you have shielded before it killed you? 1? 2? Even if it was 100, ultimately you would collapse.
If my destiny is to become one with the Force, then so be it.
Well, in that case, let me hurry you to your fate.
Really? Really? I feel like this stuff needs redoing as well. I get the idea behind their trying to be kind of cinematic with the start of the battle in that conversation, but that was kind of sad looking.
Finally, there you are. I've been kept apprised of your situation. The Council is very concerned about Yuan's health. We've been trying to contact you for hours. Did you find anything in the Jedi Temple?
The only real cure is to stop the person who's behind the illness. But I can shield her temporarily.
Then do what you can for now. Our first priority is Yuan's life. Hurry back. Yuan is fading fast. Any delay could be costly.
feel like that the story is way too restricting on what you can and can't do. Or maybe I'm just being a little overcritical about the game entirely. It is an old game, but I feel like it being an old game isn't much an excuse when it's still live and
Have a safe and
has
pleasant
people
stay.
working on it every day. I just think they need to take the cartel market and put it in the back seat and fix the game, like, you know, Coruscant, for example. All this stuff they need to not redo, but update. What, Kale says, what do you think about space battles? The PvP space battle, I think, is great. The space battle minigame on your starship needs redoing too. It has a decent enough concept, but it's just not there. It just doesn't do it. And speaking of starships, I really think it would be helpful if we were allowed to choose, no matter what side you're on, which starship you can use permanently. I mean, I would go for the Agent, the Imperial Agent starship. 100%. Like, I would go right for it. Because I simply don't like the Jedi Knight ship. It's just not my... I don't like it. I really wish I could choose to have that Imperial Agent ship. It just looks so good. Not to mention, I'd like to be able to decorate the interior of that ship the way I want it to be decorated, not how the game wants it decorated. If they did that, I think that would be another thing that would be great. Just a lot of things I feel need changed.
Oh, you're here. Quickly. We're barely detecting a pulse on Yuan. If there was any time to test what you learned in the temple, it's now.
The Masters taught me well.
Yuan's life is in your hands now.
Anyone have any other questions?
Padawan, no. No, I was making you a Jedi. What happened? I feel so much better. But why do you look so weak? What did you do?
You were raving during your illness. Any detail could help us.
The last thing I remember clearly is Your ceremony on Tython. Oh, my student, I am sorry I wasn't a better master.
What matters is that whoever was hurting you can't do so any longer.
I could feel someone else in my mind, polluting my thoughts, twisting them.
Don't think about that, Master. It's over.
Pardon me. The Council wishes to speak with you when you're ready.
I will speak with them immediately.
Thank you again for helping Yuan. And teaching me a few things as well.
I'll be all right for now. Go to the Council. We can speak later.
Another thing I think I've just thought about. In battle cries. In KOTOR 1 and 2, they were pretty prominent. You could hear them during the battle. I don't notice them when fighting. Maybe I'm just so used to hearing them that they just don't play in my head. I don't know. Maybe that's another thing that needs changing. Heck, I'd be amazed if even one of the ideas that I had are already being done for this new patch, this next patch. I don't know when it's releasing though. As soon as I get my ship, I'm ending the stream. I went the wrong way. Yep, sure did.
You're here. Thank you for contacting us so quickly. We're sorry to have to pull you away from Yuan.
We wouldn't have called you here if it wasn't urgent. First, tell us what you've learned about Yuan's illness.
I've shielded Yuan from its effects, but the only cure is to stop the person who's controlling it. Here's what we know.
Interesting. And worrying. We've started to receive disturbing communications from other masters. We fear Yuan's illness is not an isolated case.
The illness was created by Tarek Morridge, but a different Sith is using it now. I don't know his name, but I fought his apprentice in the temple.
Yes. It's imperative that we find this Sith before the illness spreads further. Unfortunately, we have no leads. We can only hope that tracking down and shielding the victims will help lead us to this Sith.
You need me to find these masters and cure them.
A small number of victims suggest that this Sith needs some sort of contact with his victims to control them. I hesitate to ask any more sacrifice of you. You've already done so much. But with the terminal in the temple destroyed, you are the only one capable of shielding the afflicted masters and stopping this Sith, whoever he is.
I will track down the man responsible.
We all have faith in you.
You'll need to be able to move freely around the galaxy. To that end, we've prepared a ship for you in the spaceport.
Where am I going?
The missing masters were last heard from on Terrace in Nar Shaddaa. Find them, and break the Plague Master's hold on them.
Say your goodbyes to Yuan. But time is of the essence. Good luck.
Kale says, I wish there was more stuff to do, like some cool mini-games. Well, the thing on the starship is technically a mini-game, but I see what you're saying. I wouldn't mind a mini-game, kind of like a... what is it called? There was a mini-game in the old Clone Wars Adventures game, if anyone remembers that, where you look top-down onto a battlefield. You have to build structures, and they periodically spawn soldiers that run toward the enemy base. And the enemy base also did the same thing, and any soldiers they encountered, they fought. You would... well, that was a stutter and a half. The goal was to beat back their forces to a point where you could destroy their base with your troops. I think that would be a neat mini-game to incorporate here.
Ah, it's good to see you through my own eyes once more. What did the Council have to say?
Other masters have fallen ill. The Council has asked me to save them.
I see. But there is still someone we must find. The person behind this. Whoever was in my mind. Stop him, so that I don't have to be shielded anymore. So your strength can be restored. Remember, let your instincts guide you. Keep to the
Pazak?
Jedi
Yeah,
code,
Pazak would be an
and may the Force
excellent
be with
minigame
you.
to have. Or Dejaric. Heck, I would love to play Pazak or Dejaric on my downtime in this game. Win different prizes, different currencies, and that's one more thing, currency. The economy in this game is downright ridiculous. It is unreal about how bad the economy is in this game. That it needs to change. I don't know how to change it. I have no idea what that can be done to make it better, but it is in a sorry state. Millions and millions and millions of credits for one item is stupidly ridiculous. But yeah, back to the minigame idea. Pazak, Dejaric, that one minigame I told you about. I think it'd be great. Personally, all the ideas that I gave, I think I said this once before, but my memory is not that great. I tend to forget things very often. But with all the ideas that I gave regarding what needs changed, personally, it's probably not even possible. Because you would have to basically recreate the entire game from the ground up. You might as well just make a new MMO. Just a new Star Wars MMO from scratch. I would if I had the license and I had the resources and if I had the know-how, but I lack all of these. I have none of these. I would totally be down to do that sort of thing, but I just can't. I don't have the knowledge, resources, or permission. Wow, look at that! A ship that was given to me that I really want to choose for myself because I like the agent ship better. Alrighty, now that we have our ship, you know what it's time for. No. I broke my game. Well, you know what it's time for. It's time to end the stream. We've been at this for an hour and 25 minutes. An hour and 25 minutes of nothing but ranting about this game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm going to post this on YouTube. Go to YouTube, and my YouTube channel is Hearthshield Gaming. It's pretty easy to find. Same... Well, no, not the same. It's not the same icon or profile picture that I have on Twitch. You'll find it. It's pretty easy. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person with that username. Just go to YouTube, put some comments down, like the video, subscribe it. If you want to see more of my streams go on there, subscribe to Twitch as well if you want to see me live Twitch there. I'm going to put the link to Twitch into the description. And also, if you wish to assist me, I have a link on my Twitch profile for donations if you wish to make one. I wish you everyone well, and have a wonderful day.